Hi, my name is Scarlett Wimblade, and this is going to be my final rat post lab. To begin, we will be comparing a rabbit and a rat using phylogeny. We know that both the rabbit and rat belong to phylum Chordata, and this is what I will be basing my predictions on. Beginning with the respiratory system, like the rat's respiratory system, the rabbit's respiratory system most likely would consist of a trachea, a larynx, and lungs. This is standard for mammals like rabbits and rats. And the rat also does have an open circulatory system, so the rabbit most likely also inhibits a circulatory system that is open. Continuing to compare the rabbit and the rat, we will be discussing the digestive system. The rabbit's digestive system will most likely consist of a pharynx, esophagus, stomach, small and large intestine, a cecum, a liver, pancreas, and the anus. These are all organs that the rat also possesses and is in its digestive system. Like the rat, the rabbit would have mechanical and chemical digestion. Mechanical digestion would take place in the esophagus and stomach, while chemical digestion occurs in the stomach, intestines, and cecum. The rat has a complete digestive system, so the rabbit most likely also will. Now moving on to the reproductive system, the rat's reproductive system we found consisted of a vagina or penis, a uterus and ovaries or testes and a scrotum, and then the urinary bladder. The rat also had specific sex and is not hermaphroditic. These processes would most likely be similar in the rabbit's reproductive system. Rats are also known for producing very large litters, and I believe that rabbits are also known for reproducing many babies as well. The picture we are observing on the left are pictures of what our female dissected rat looks like. This is what most likely the female rabbit's reproductive organs would look like. We will now be moving on to comparing all of the animals we dissected by beginning with their digestive system. All of the animals we dissected had a complete digestive system, but all animals use different organs for digestion. The earthworm uses their gizzard to break down food with swallowed rocks. The crayfish has a gastric mill with gastric teeth to break down digested food. The squid utilizes its stomach and cecum for absorption and digestion. The perch uses its pharynx and esophagus to break down food for digestion. And lastly, the rat utilizes its teeth to break down food and its stomach and cecum for digestion. All of the pictures below show each animal's digestive system organs. Moving along, we will now be comparing all of the animals' circulatory systems. Beginning with the earthworm, the squid, and the perch, all of these animals have closed circulatory systems. The earthworm circulates blood in respective vessels, the squid's 3 hearts circulate blood through gills, and the perch's heart pumps blood through gills as well. The crayfish and the rat, on the other hand, both have open circulatory systems. The crayfish pumps blood and hemolymph through the heart, while the rat also pumps hemolymph in a double circulation system. It makes sense for our aquatic and marine animals to have a closed circulatory system as they are often considered cold-blooded, while our on-land animals have an open circulatory system as they are often considered warm-blooded animals. We will now be comparing all of our animals' respiratory systems. The crayfish, the squid, and the perch all utilize gills in order to gain oxygen from their aquatic habitats. It makes sense for all of these marine and aquatic animals to use gills as their main respiratory organ, as that is how oxygen and blood flows throughout their body. On the other hand, the earthworm has porous and moist skin that is used as a respiratory organ. The earthworm essentially breathes through its skin. Lastly, the rat, like us, uses its lungs and trachea for bringing oxygen into its airways and respiratory system. Lastly, for comparing and contrasting all of the animals we dissected, we will now be moving on to the reproductive systems. Our crayfish, squid, perch, and rat all have separate sexes and show sexual dimorphism. This was most likely selected for all of these animals as the probability of finding a mate is high. These might be just because of high populations in all of these animals. But as for our earthworms are hermaphroditic, but they do still need to find a mate in order to reproduce. As for all of our animals, all of their offspring often have low survival rates, which leads to a large abundance of eggs hatching or babies being born. To begin, the earthworm lay from 100 to 200 eggs, with about 4 worms being contained in each egg. Crayfish will keep up to 600 eggs in their abdomen until they are ready to hatch, and about thousands of babies will come out of these eggs. As for the squids, squids will lay about 12 egg capsules, each containing up to 300 eggs inside. And because squids don't show motherly tendencies, they will often lay eggs in plants or rocks, leading to low survival rates, which requires a lot more babies. The perch will often lay up to 10,000 to 40,000 eggs due to extremely low probabilities of offspring survival in the perch. And as for our rat, rats have internal embryonic development, which makes them very different from all these other animals. Rats have a uterus that will harbor up to 8 babies 12 times a year. Gestation period lasts up to 22 days, and rats tend to have many babies as they also have low offspring survival rates. To close out my rat post lab, we will now be discussing why a perch's body temperature could not sustain a rat's lifestyle. The perch is what is known as a cold-blooded or exothermic animal, which fits the environment that they live in. A perch can be exothermic as they live in an aquatic habitat, which is often filled with cold water. A perch also has a closed circulatory system, which means blood is being cycled in their body and is cooled when the water passes through their gills. A rat, on the other hand, could not be exothermic as it does not fit their habitat or lifestyle. Rats have open circulatory systems, which is often associated with warm-blooded animals. This is due to the fact that hemolymph is circulated throughout the bodies of open-circulated animals, throughout their bodies and their hearts. This would keep a warmer core for the rat's body overall. Rats are also very active animals that live on land, and this means that they must maintain an endothermic core, which is why they must be a warm-blooded animal.